Alright, today's lesson, we're going to be dividing decimals by whole numbers. So we're going to start off with example 1. We're dividing $3.48 by 3. So this is your dividend first. This right here is your divisor. And the answer, of course, will be our quotient. So the first thing you need to do is you need to know how to set these up under the bar. So 3.48 goes underward. We'll just leave the dollar sign off for now. And 3 goes on the outside. Let me zoom in a little bit. Alright, so when we're dividing by a whole number, we do this just like we would divide if there were no decimal at all in my dividend. So we're just going to go across like this. Well, first off, this little decimal here is going to go straight up, and it's going to stay in the same place on the top. And then I'm just going to make sure I go one number at a time. So I'm going to say, how many times will 3 go into 3? One time. Then I multiply 1 times 3 is 3. I subtract. And I bring down the next number. Then I already brought that decimal up. Now, how many times will 3 go into 4? Anybody? One time. So again, 1 times 3 is 3. I subtract. And I'm bringing down the next number. So then how many times will 3 go into 18? 6. So make sure, notice how each time I'm putting my number on top, I'm making sure it goes above that number that I brought down. So my 6 would go right here above the 8. So 6 times 3 is 18. I subtract and get 0. So when I divide $3.48 by 3, I end up with $1.16. Alright, for example 2, we're going to divide 42 and 133 thousandths by 7. Real quick, just a little estimation. If I'm looking at this, I know that my whole number part, the 42, divided by 7 would be 6. So when I get my answer, it's going to be around 6. So now I'm going to go down here, I'm going to divide. So I'm going to rewrite it. And I'm kind of giving me more room than I need up here in case I need to do any regrouping. Probably won't. Alright, so will 7 go into 4? So then I go over to 42. Will 7 go into 42? That would be 6 times. 6 times 7 is 42. And I get a 0. And I bring down my 1. Before I go on, see how I'm to the decimal? Let's go ahead and bring that decimal up and put it right here after the 6. Now, this is important, so make sure you pay attention to this next part. We've already brought our number down, right? Will 7 go into 1? It won't, right? So when it won't work like that, I'm going to have to go back up here and say that it's going to go 0 times. So a 0 would go above that 1. Then I say 0 times 7 is 0. And I subtract. And I bring down the next number, which is a 3, to give me 13. Will 7 go into 13? How many times? One time. 1 times 7 is 7. And I subtract. 13 minus 7 is 6. And then I need to bring down my next number. Okay? You with me so far? How many times will 7 go into 63? 9 times, which is exactly 63. So when I subtract, I get 0. I don't know why I put another subtraction sign, but we get 0. So my answer when I divide is 6 and 19 thousandths. Was it close to 6? Yes, it was very close. If this was money and we had to round this would be $6.02. So it would be very close to just $6. Any questions there? Alright, so let's look at the estimation for this one first. Why could I round this 2 to be divisible by 6? Think of a whole number. What if we just kept it at 24? What's 24 divided by 6? 4. Okay, so when I divide my problem, it's going to be close to 4. It should be relatively close to 4. Alright, so now I'm going to set it up to divide. And when you're doing this, make sure you're spacing your numbers out so you have room to keep it nice and organized so you don't get confused which number you're supposed to bring down. Will 6 go into 2? Will 6 go into 24? And we said that would go how many times? 4, which is actually 24, correct? I subtract and get 0, and then what do? I bring down the next number, which is 1. And I always do the arrows because it helps me stay organized. It helps me stay on track. Now, before I do anything else, let's go ahead and move that decimal up and put it up here on the line. Go straight up. Alright, will 6 go into 1? So what do I need to put above the 1 up here?
0.
A 0. 0 times 6 is 0. Subtract. Bring down the next number, which is 8. Will 6 go into 18? How many times?
3.
So we put the 3 above the 8. Multiply. And then subtract. And then bring down the next number, which is 6. How many times will 6 go into 6? 1 time. Multiply to get 6. Subtract and get 0. So my answer would be, my quotient would be 4 and 31 thousandths. Is that close to the whole number 4? It is. Alright, we have $17.15 and we're going to divide by 7. Will 7 go into 1? No. Will 7 go into 17? How many times?
2.
So we put the 2 above the 7. 7 times 2 is 14. I subtract and bring down the next number. Okay, I need to make sure I move that decimal up and put it up here on the line. And now I'm saying, how many times will 7 go into 31? 4 times, which is 28. And then 31 minus 28 would be 3. And bring down the next number. How many times will 7 go into 35? 5 times, which gives me 35. So when I get my answer, we get $2.45. I forgot to do an estimate on that one, but if you were estimating, so we had 1715 divided by 7. You could either go down to 14 and divide by 7 and get 2, or I think this one's close enough if you wanted to go up to 21 and divide by 7 and get 3. That would work also, because $2.45 is pretty close to the middle of those two numbers. So I would accept either 2 or 3 as your estimate. Alright, so this one we're going to go ahead and estimate first. So we've got 1 and 68 thousandths, and we're dividing by 4. So think about this. If you have $1 and you divide by 4, what are you going to end up with? What coin? A quarter, which is how much? So I could estimate that 1 divided by 4 is the decimal 0.25. Go ahead and write that down. Okay, so now we're going to divide. Will 4 go into 1? So we're going to go ahead and put this 0 here. And the reason I'm going ahead and doing that is because if you'll look, the very next thing is the decimal. So I'm going to go ahead and put that 0 there and then put my decimal. Will 4 go into 10? How many times? So I put a 2 here. 2 times 4 is 8. I subtract. 10 minus 8 is 2. And I bring down my 6. Alright, how many times will 4 go into 26? 6. Because that's 24. 7 goes a little bit too high. So we subtract and bring down my next number. Now how many times will 4 go into 28? 7. There's your 7. Which gives me exactly 28. So notice my decimal is 0.267. Is that close? Yes. If I were to round this, if it were money, this would be 27 cents. And 27 cents is pretty close to 25 cents. Alright, let's go ahead and look at number 4. Alright, so for number 4, let's estimate first. What's something that's close to 60 and 84 hundredths that can be divided by 12? 60. So let's just say 60 divided by 12. That's really, really close. What would that be? 5. Okay? So over here now, when we're dividing, 12 won't go into 6, but it'll go into 60. And we just said what that was. It's 5 times. 5 times 12 is 60. I subtract and bring down the next number. You with me? Then you go ahead and bring up the decimal. How many times will 12 go into 8? 0 times. So we're going to fill in a 0. 0 times 12 is 0. Subtract. And I bring down 4. How many times will 12 go into 84? 7 times. 7 times 12 is 84. So that's how we get our answer. Does anybody have a question about what to do here? Alright, you are going to finish page 37. Then we're going to check it.